afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Today, as promised, we're pretty much going to get the burnout truck ready to be tuned. So what I mean by that is make sure all the sensors are plugged up, got to get the E-fans on it. I would like to actually lower the rear. That's not necessary for tuning, but I want to try to get it down a little bit while we're working on it. But before we start today's video, if you like what you see here today, or if you checked out the other videos on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I got my E-fans here. What I've got to try to figure out, the wiring is going to be the easy part. The hard part is going to be trying to figure out how I'm going to get them fixed to the radiator. So I'm going to see what they sent me as far as bracketry goes. The top part of this one, and I'm going to put the other one down low. Those would be the easiest, the top and the bottom, to hold it. But I've got to get something to hold the bottom part of this down. So I've got to try to devise something up here. So let me figure out something and we'll see what I can come up with. All right, so maybe if I would have opened up the package before I said that I needed to build something, I would have saw these nice little things right here. So what you do with these is they'll literally just slide through the fins of the radiator, and this will pull your fan in, and then you've got the little lock system that goes on the back. So I probably would have paid off to look at what all they sent me for it, and I wouldn't have had the thought I was going to have to devise something up. So I'm going ahead and getting the E-fans put up here, and once I get both of them in here, I'll show you what I come up with. All right, so that was really easy. So if you see here, I got the fan up against the radiator, and see that thing, it's pretty solid. So like I showed you, if you come around here, you see that when you put them through, they give you these little things that lock them up in there. You see how it's grooved? Slide it up in there, lock them up in there. You got one at all four corners of the fan. That thing ain't going nowhere. And the time it just took me to do that, maybe 3 minutes. So that made it super easy. You see I ran the wiring down to the bottom, because what I want to do is I'm going to run the harness along this factory harness here so I can run it back up into my firewall. And I'll show you guys the harness there in a second and what we're going to do with the switches. So let me get this other one on, and then we'll start running the wiring harness. Alrighty, so now you see here, both the fans, I've got them offset. You got one at the top, one kind of at the bottom. And actually, in hindsight, I probably could have brought them in a little bit closer. And really, I should have ordered the 12-inch, but we got the 10-inch. We'll be all right. So all you do is you come back up here, and I'm just going to leave a little bit so we can always tighten them or whatever down, and just cut your tips off to make it nice and neat looking. And then we'll be set and ready to start running this wiring harness. Alrighty, guys, so here is the harness. Now, this harness is actually has two pigtails where you can plug something in. I've taped these up. Reason being is I don't want both of the fans on one switch, because there is such thing as being a little bit too cool. I want each one on an individual switch. So you're driving up the road or whatever, you really only need one fan on. Where in the burnout box, we need both the fans. So that's why I want to separate the two fans. I have two harnesses anyway, so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm running two different harnesses. But this harness was pretty nice. I mean, it's pretty sweet. They come with you can plug in two things there. Of course, you could also put too much power through it, and then you could hurt it. But this is a nice harness. We've got the relay here, inline fuse, everything like that. And there's our switch. It's going to be, well, if I don't break the switch, here's the switch. Run that to the inside. So give me just a second, plug everything up, and run this to a power source, and then inside the truck, and I'll show you guys my idea on the dash with the metal plate. So running the wire harness for the one fan, the biggest problem right now is we're missing this fender. I can't really neaten it up because I don't know how all this is going to sit, but I am going to try to get at least it loosely run inside and get our switch put into the dash and stuff like that. So I'm gonna run it right here through this grommet, and it makes it super easy while the fender's off. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and do it. While I'm actually doing that, Austin come over, really wants to put the new steering wheel on. I pulled this out of the same truck I got the hood off of. It came out of an 06, and it looks a lot better than this one where it's literally wore down to the metal. So I need to pop this off. If it's like that one, I'm pretty sure it is. It's just the one nut in the airbag. So we've got the battery disconnected and the airbag fuse pulled. Hopefully I don't get punched in the face taking this thing off, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it off. Alrighty, so we got the radio out. I ain't got no use for that because we're gonna put in the switch panel right here so we can turn the electric fans on. And, we're almost got the steering wheel. We're real close to that. Somebody has asked a million times about pulling the steering wheel on these. It literally is the one nut. Once you pull the airbag out, you just take the nut off, and you see there's splines in there. You just push her on up on the spline. So pretty easy to do, not too hard. Make sure you remember where the steering wheel is so you put the other one back on the right way. We might need a Sharpie. Might just grab a hammer. Never mind. Alrighty, so one old steering wheel. Austin, you want that as a souvenir? All yours. Alright guys, so I wish that the radio was the same as it is on the Cateye, because the Cateye's got these nice 4 bolts to hold it up in there. This one didn't. It was held in there by like a track system. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to run it. I don't know if I'm going to hook it into something behind this plate or try to hook it to this plate, but I'll figure out something. But if you look here, fan 1, fan 2. So we got everything wired up. I just got to neaten up the wiring, but both the fans are working. What was your idea?
So if we might try to do the plate and then make 2 tabs that come off and then just screw them into the sides, because there's nothing on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So that's an idea. We'll figure it out though.
We'll figure out something. Give us just a minute. We'll figure something out. So I haven't got it screwed in yet. We just put the test bit. It's going to be a little bit recessed, but it's the best way that we can think to do it is to put it on the supports back there, so that way it's got some type of rigidity to it. So I'm going to get it screwed in and get my holes, the first 2 holes drilled for the fans, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Alrighty, so looks pretty good, and I scuffed it up a little bit to make it look a little shinier. Pretty cool brush finish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the bezel back on, and then I'm going to see how I want to run these switches. So I've got to like get the right size bit and drill my holes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna put the bezel back on and see how I want the switches set in here. Alrighty, so switches are in here. Went a little big on this one, so we had to kind of tape it up back there, but this one's really snug. So the battery's dead in it right now, that's why they're not lighting up. It needs to light up red when they're on, and then you turn them off and the lights turn off. So we'll label it, we'll put fan up here, 1 and 2. And then like I said, this slot's gonna be for arming the nitrous, and that slot's gonna be the 2-step when we run the 12-volt 2. Some people use the brake to engage it. I think we're gonna run on a switch. So we're gonna have 2 more switches there, and those will be in an upcoming video. But I want to, if you caught the last video, we're running secondary O2s on this truck, and it's running okay. The reason being is we cut the primaries when we first did it. So I've got the primary O2 sensors here. So what I'm going to do is take the secondaries out, which the secondaries are actually in the primary spots. So we need to put the primaries where they're supposed to be and plug them into the right harness and see if we can't get it to run just a little bit better before it gets tuned. So let me get out and do that. Alrighty, so I've got the new primaries in. So I'm not banking on it idling too good at first till it refigures out that we're running through primaries, not secondaries. But it might surprise me, so let's see. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. We got the O2 sensors in and it runs so much better. We actually went up the road in it and drove it, and you can actually run and drive. Like, you can pull up to a stop sign hit the brake, let off the gas, it'll sit there at idle and take off. The only thing is it's still kind of, the torque converter is slipping. You know, it's a new converter, and hopefully maybe you get it running better, maybe tune it and get it to, you know, shift gears by itself. It shifts gears by itself under light throttle. Anything over 50% throttle in it, it's like it slips trying to go from gear to gear. So I'm sure it's just a learning curve and something the tuner can fix on the truck. But that's going to about end today's video. Go check out the other videos on the channel. The reason it's up here on the trailer, I'm going to get the exhaust done tomorrow. And of course I say exhaust, it's just going to be a little bit of pipe put on the headers. After that, it's pretty much needs to go to the shop to get tuned, because it's about at the point where, I mean, we get a driver's side fender and the hood on it, but that's all we've got left to do before it goes and gets tuned. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm curious to see how much power this thing makes, as you guys, I'm sure you are too. Take care. Have a great day.
You bring me comfort to my